When evaluating resources, the first question we need to address is, why do we need to take the time to determine the credibility and quality of information? Why is this so important? Just because a resource results from your search query, that doesn't necessarily mean that it is appropriate for your research purposes. Similarly, when conducting research, we need to remain vigilant and aware that our goal is not to locate resources which confirm our own biases, but rather select authoritative and relevant information materials. By using the evaluation tools and methods found in this module, we can be sure that we are operating with the best information possible. While the following guidelines and evaluation methods we will cover can provide you with easy-to-remember points of consideration while conducting research, always keep in mind that research can be complicated, and no single set of evaluation principles may be able to answer every question about a resource. These are simply tools to increase your awareness of how to evaluate a resource and why certain attributes are important to determining how appropriate certain information may be for your research project. You should also be aware that bias exists in almost all of the database resources and results that you get when you search. Think of evaluating resources as your chance to check a series of important points. You have run a search and located resulting resources, but you should not assume that just because a resource is listed in response to your keyword search, it is the most appropriate for your project. Even if it meets reliability criteria or is peer-reviewed, it may not be the most relevant resource for you. While reading articles and other resources, keep your project goals in mind in order to stay on track. Next, you are checking the quality. While library resources are largely vetted, and you also likely have reliable database recommendations from professors or librarians which are applicable to your field of study, you run the risk of including less high-quality resources when searching outside of these trusted routes. For example, if you find an article via a Google search, you will need to check carefully for evidence that the information is vetted and/or written by a reliable author. Unedited and single-source information with no citations is unlikely to be appropriate for an academic research project. This is also your opportunity to check yourself. Re-examine your own attitude for areas of potential bias and look at the resources you have selected with fresh eyes. Are you only selecting articles that reinforce your pre-existing viewpoint, for example? If so, you're leaning on confirmation bias by not engaging with the full range of opinions or data on your topic. And finally, check your requirements. As you work through the process of evaluating resources, you should also reflect on how well your selections address the requirements of your assignment. Did your professor give you a minimum required number of citations? Were specific formats or peer review requirements offered? Using some of the following evaluation tools can help with this.